What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and it's time we bid adieu. It's time we take the final bow. We close the curtain. We take that last ride with John Wayne as we discuss The Shootist, starring the Duke himself alongside Lauren Bacall, Ron Howard, James Stewart, Richard Boone, Hugh O'Brien, Harry Morgan, John Carradine, and Scatman Crothers. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. As I said in the introduction, today is the last ride of the John Wayne Westerns, at least for now. As you guys know, John Wayne had a historic 50-year career making movies. We've only scratched the surface of the stuff that he's done and that he's known for. We've still got things like True Grit and Rooster Cogburn, movies with one sequel. We've got things that are more military and war driven. We've got The Quiet Man, which is more dramatic. We've got more westerns. There's so much more in store for John Wayne. You're just going to have to keep checking back to see when he's going to pop up again. You know, whether it's in something like Movies with One Sequel or Turner Classic Movies, or if we do a month of war movies. You're just going to have to see, because there's so much meat still left on the proverbial bone here. But we're not here to talk about any of that. We're here today to discuss his final movie ever, The Shootist. And as our movie begins, the opening scenes are a narrated flashback of the 30-plus killings by sheriff turned gunfighter John Bernard Brooks, or J.B. Brooks, using actual scenes from John Wayne's past films, including Red River, Hondo, which we discussed earlier this month on the show, Rio Bravo, which we discussed last month when we did movies that star musicians, and El Dorado, which we also discussed earlier this month here on the channel. Now an older man, Brooks arrives in Carson City, Nevada in late January 1901. Almost immediately, just outside of town, he gets into a dangerous confrontation with an armed robber. Brooks disarms the robber quickly by wounding him, and then once he arrives in Carson City, he has another confrontation with dairyman Jay Cobb. But Cobb's assistant, Gillum Rogers, verbally diffuses the situation. Brooks then goes to Dr. E.W. Hostetler, a Carson City physician who already knows Brooks from treating his gunshot wounds some 15 years prior. Brooks came to Carson City in order to seek out Hostetler for a second opinion concerning his failing health. Hostetler confirms that Brooks has terminal cancer and only has just a few months left to live. Brooks is prescribed laudanum to ease his pain, but learns that his condition will eventually become painful and unbearable. Hostetler then remarks that if he had Brooks's courage, the death that he has just described from cancer is not the one he would choose. Needing a place to live, Brooks finds lodging at a quiet boarding house that is owned by Bond Rogers, Gillum's widowed mother. Wanting to be left alone, Brooks gives her a fake name. However, Gillum finds out Brooks's true identity at the local stable from the stable owner, Moses. Gillum then runs home and tells his mother who she's really boarding and that Brooks is actually a renowned and famous gunfighter. Now, Bond is very upset that Brooks has lied to her about who he is, and she summons Marshal Walter Thibodeau. Brooks gets rid of Thibodeau by explaining his circumstances and assuring the marshal that he'll likely be dead soon. Now more sympathetic to his plight, Bond asks Books to accompany her to church in order to obtain solace and comfort. However, Books maintains that he has no need of repentance, stating that he has never harmed or injured anyone who did not deserve it. Word spreads that Books is in town, causing him trouble from those seeking to profit off of his name or attempting to kill him. A local journalist, Dan Dobkins, gets chased off when he asks Books for an interview. Surepida, an old flame of Books, shows up, but she eventually leaves after admitting that Dobkins approached her about writing a biography of Books' life, filled with exaggerated stories of his gunfights. Books orders a headstone, but he rejects the undertaker's offer of a free funeral, suspecting that he would then charge the public admission to view his remains. Two criminals seeking notoriety try to ambush Books as he sleeps, but he kills them. Gillum is impressed, but his mother is both angry at and frightened for Books, though she will not admit it. She also grows concerned that the fatherless Gillum will try to follow in Books' footsteps as the two grow closer, with Books going as far as teaching Gillum how to shoot properly. Books then asks Gillum to visit three men with violent reputations: Mike Sweeney, an aging outlaw and the brother of a man that Books once killed in self-defense; Jack Paulford, the faro dealer at the local saloon; and Cobb, Gillum's boss. Gillum is to tell each of the three men that Books will be at the Metropole Saloon at 11 a.m. on January 29th, his birthday. On the morning of January 29th, the headstone arrives, which includes Books' death year as 1901, but with no date given. Books gives Gillum his beloved horse, bids farewell to Bond, and then boards a trolley head for the saloon. Books enters the saloon to find the three men waiting for him at different tables. Books orders a drink, toasts his birthday and his three guests, Cobb, Sweeney, and Pulford. They then try to kill Books, but despite getting wounded in the arm, he manages to kill all three of them. A crowd then fills the street outside the saloon after hearing the gunshots, including Gillum, who eventually enters the bar. His shouted warning, though, is too late, as the bartender fires his shotgun into Books' back, mortally wounding him. Gillum rushes over and takes Books' gun and kills the bartender. When Gillum realizes what he has done, he throws the gun away, and Books smiles in approval before dying. Gillum covers the body with his coat and walks outside to his waiting mother. She turns and follows him down the street as our movie comes to its end. Out of all the movies that I have watched this month, this one has become a favorite of mine for a sentimental reason. The Shootist, John Wayne's final film, was released on August 20th, 1976, 2 days before I entered this world. This was the last movie of John Wayne's to come out in theaters, and it came out 2 days before I was born. On top of that, you look at the cast here. Scatman Crothers as Moses, the stable owner. I know Scatman Crothers back from being Scat Cat in the Aristocats. Ron Howard, of course, Opie from the Andy Griffith Show. Richie Cunningham from Happy Days. Grew up with Ron Howard. Lauren Bacall, legendary, Hollywood actress. James Stewart, who had appeared and worked with John Wayne in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, which we discussed earlier this month on the channel here. Jimmy Stewart had not acted for quite a few years because of his hearing. But when John Wayne asked him to do this, he did it as a favor to him. You can't get much better than that, for real. John Carradine, who played Dracula in some of the later Universal monster movies, back in here, appeared alongside John Wayne in a few different movies over the course of the month that I discussed. Seeing him come back here. Harry Morgan, Dragnet, you know? Such a great all-star cast here for this final film farewell for John Wayne. So cool to see how all these pieces kind of came together for this film. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, from a movie making perspective, it was all right. You know, there were from a movie making, cinematography, story perspective, maybe there were a few movies this month that were better than this. But the story was simple. It played perfectly with where John Wayne was in his life at this time. Figure he died 4 or 5 years after this movie. You know, it was just perfect. There's this dying gunfighter who just wants to live out his final days. You know, this Hollywood legend just kind of wants to make one more movie. And he wasn't even the first choice for this character. They tried to get so many other people before they finally allowed John Wayne to do the role. That's nuts to me, to think that Hollywood didn't think enough of John Wayne to go for him in this movie in the first place. It befuddles me. But I thoroughly enjoyed The Shootist. How many of you guys out there have seen it? Let me know in the comments. When it comes to my rating for this film, I'm going to give it 4 stars. And again, from a cinematography, a storytelling perspective, was this the greatest? No, but again, it was a simple story, something that kind of echoed John Wayne's life at this point. And the fact that it came out 2 days before I was born gives me that sentimental attachment to this film now. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm really curious about you guys that have seen it, or if me talking about this movie now makes you want to see it. Let me know in the comments. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Let's have that conversation, that discussion, that debate, that interaction that I'm always asking you guys for in the comments below. And make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, right here to the Casa D18 Studios channel, as we once again open up the vaults for another week of Throwback Thursday. That's right, you're going to see content from the J. Hebert Studios, the Simple Man brand, the Jeff Meacham Network, NoDQ.com, and of course the Casa D18 Studios, all thrown together as part of another week's edition of Throwback Thursday. We've got the ATW View, we've got the Indie Force podcast, we've got the No DQ review, we've got Open Mic Night, and then of course we've got Talk Wrestling, Stat Boy Rants, Renegade of Wrestling, Double Down with Double A, the No DQ and AV, and Renegade of Wrestling. So much good stuff, all lumped together once again for another week of Throwback Thursday. And then later in the day, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, the Jeff Meacham Network, and across the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media, we will be presenting a special edition of Talk Wrestling with Jeff Meacham. Special night and time this week due to the fact that the No DQ review was on Tuesday during its normal time slot. So Talk Wrestling got bumped to Thursday. And then on Friday, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel will be another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, and we are going to kick off our month-long celebration of Johnny Depp's 60th birthday by discussing Crybaby, starring Johnny Depp, Amy Locane, Polly Bergen, Ricky Lake, Tracy Lords, Iggy Pop, Troy Donahue, Patricia Hearst, and Willem Dafoe. You don't want to miss out on any of that content right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, the Jeff Meacham Network, across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media, Throwback Thursday, Talk Wrestling, and Crybaby as we kick off our month-long salute to Johnny Depp. Again, you don't want to miss any of that, so make sure you smash that like button, make sure you subscribe, make sure that notification bell is turned on so you don't miss out anytime a video drops right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel or anytime we go live, as is the case with Statboy Sports Bar, Open Mic Night, Pay-Per-View PLE Watch-Along coverage, Talk Wrestling, and so much more. Share these videos with your family, friends, loved ones, coworkers, movie fanatics, cinephiles in your life, fans of John Wayne, fans of Lauren Bacall, fans of Ron Howard, fans of James Stewart, fans of Scatman Crothers and Harry Morgan. Anybody you can think of that would enjoy this content in this video, share it with them. It's the only way we're going to keep my visibility up in YouTube's algorithms now that we are in fact a monetized channel right here on the platform. Thank you once again to everybody out there who joined me and tuned in today. It means so much more to me than you guys will ever know. And I will see you guys next time.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.